All right. Hello out there. Hey, how's it going? Hello, I'm Aaron from Solace, back with you for yet another office hours. It is December 19th, 2023, and I'm coming at you live from Solace headquarters in Kanata, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So I'm doing something a little bit different this month, just coming up to the holidays. I thought rather than doing kind of a feature product demonstration or like a webcast or sharing a bunch of slides, I thought we'd do something a little more physical. And so because I'm home for Christmas in Ottawa, and I'm happen to be in the office here, I thought we'd do a real live hardware appliance demonstration. Those that have known Solace for a while probably know that we have hardware appliances as a messaging broker in hardware. But for those that don't, we have our messaging as a service Solace Cloud platform. We have our software broker, which you can run as a Docker container or a VM. But it all came from originally the hardware appliance. And so to that end, I'm very happy to present Blair Murphy here, our head of operations. Blair, say hello.
Good morning, folks. How are you?
Why don't you introduce yourself for the people out there?
Blair Murphy. I've been the operations manager for 12 years here at Solace, and love my job. So,
all right,
it's a good spot.
And so today, Blair has very generously decided to take a bit of time to show us an actual Solace hardware messaging appliance, and we're going to break that down in just a second. So I'll let you bring that in, and I'll just get the webcam for the close-up here, and I'm going to clip you in just a second, all right? Okay, so for all you joining out there, so Tamimi is running backstage. Tamimi, my colleague, is there. Put yourself up in the chat where you're joining us from. You know, like I said, I'm in Ottawa. I'm back home for Christmas from Singapore, but put in the chat where you're coming from and say hello. All right, so we got our appliance there. Blair, I'm going to give you this mic to clip in here, and I might need to adjust this camera a little bit. All right. You got your clip there?
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, I left my second microphone in Singapore, so we're kind of having to share a little bit here. So this might be a little bit interesting, but we'll see what happens. All right, Blair, you're live. You're ready to go. By the way, if you have questions, put it in the chat. Tamimi is going to be watching that and will kind of come on stage and let us know. So if you want to see something specific or have a question about the hardware appliance or anything about Solace technology, we're happy to talk about it. So here we go. Well, look at this brand beautiful thing here.
All right, folks. In order to get in our chassis, number 2 Phillips screwdriver, undo the locks. There's 2 push pins. Follow the arrows. They go to the center. Back. Off comes the lid.
Beautiful. Can we show the front of it first, just so people can kind of see what this thing looks like? It is a thing of beauty, in my opinion.
We are here to show this off.
Yeah.
Whatever you folks want to see.
Yeah, let's do it. So now, for those that know racks and everything, this thing is 2U tall. It's 2, I guess, units?
Rack units. 1.75 inches.
That's right. So there is the business, not the business end, the pretty looking end, I guess.
This is the pretty.
Yeah.
This is your front end.
Yep. All right. So that's the front. Let's see the rest of it there.
Front. So I'm just going to tip it up on its side.
Yep.
Not normal during the installation, but for the purposes of this video, there we go. Hey,
that looks great.
All right.
Yep.
We good?
Yeah.
Good. So you can see this will be the top view down. You see our 2 8-core processors, the 64 gig of RAM. You can see our fans in the front here.
Yep.
There's 4 of them. Solid state drives down here. We'll go into more detail on all this later on. The Intel server motherboard, blade removal tool, and the back here are 2 cartridges. On the back end here is our host bus adapter, goes out to storage. This is the top view of our chassis.
Right.
So this unit has not been under test yet. So I'm going to tear it all apart, and then we're going to test it. So nothing leaves here untested.
So this is a real appliance. It's not a demo appliance. This is some customer might end up getting this then.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Well, some customers going to get this probably before the end of December.
Okay.
So.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, this is a Christmas present, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Getting shipped out to somebody here.
And they don't get much per diem. Aaron just finished this one this morning, so we're dealing with a fresh system.
Oh, wow. I can smell the new car smell.
Yes. Front to back?
Sure.
Go through?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the front, actually, I can spin it like this for the purpose. If we can see there, can we? All right.
We'll do our split screen here in a
there's
second.
we have a door on the front of the chassis, flips down. We have two solid state drives in the top slots. 240 gig solid state drives in a RAID configuration. So they're redundant. So if you lose one, we can it can be replaced, be hot swapped, replaced live without bringing the system down. It's a silver button, push towards the center of the chassis. The solid state drive pops out, and there you go.
There it is.
Very easy to change. If you can push the silver button,
Sure.
you can change it.
I'll do the second one.
Do the second one. Push.
Hey,
There you go.
all right.
There you go.
Look at that, folks.
See?
Yep.
Super easy.
And then,
And
you
then
just close it?
the
what
close the door.
are the bottom two drives bays slots for then?
They're unused.
Okay.
So they were for future development that was not required.
Right.
So
Yep. Good
So
to
that's
have
it.
though. Yep. It's nice.
and
It's all aluminum, right? This this faceplate here.
yep, it's a local shop that does our work. We do as much local business as we can. It reduces emissions and all stuff, trucking equipment to us.
Yep.
And it's also always good to shop where you live, right? So
All right.
and so yeah, that's where we have our Made in Canada label on.
Yeah, look at that. All right. Well, as a Canadian company, that's good to have there.
Absolutely. So the back of the chassis, this is powered by two 1,000 watt power supplies. The system can run on one. They are hot swappable, field replaceable. You push in on the locking tab, pull out, and there we have it.
Wow, cool.
So very simple, very straightforward. When replacing anything, always check the pins before you install anything in case they were damaged in shipping. That's damaged pins cause what they refer to as a mechanical virus, because by moving it from one system to another or putting a damaged one in,
It spreads
you
around.
will spread the damage. So always check your pins. And for installation, just back in till you hear the click.
So this is
Go
a
ahead.
1,000 watts each.
Each.
Wow. Okay.
So
And they don't. I mean, this is obviously server grade stuff. I mean, my
Everything here
desktop
is.
power supply does not look like that. So yeah.
it's probably not field replaceable either.
Right. Yeah. So
So-
this thing will run on just on one. So if one dies, I can pull it out, swap in a new one, and
Simple as that.
it'll stay up. Right.
It will stay up. You'll have no interruption in service.
Awesome.
Okay. So we have 4 fans at the front. The fans are the system can run on 3, so we do have some redundancy built in there. The fans are easy to change. There's a connector. Go power down the unit.
Yep.
Remove the connector. It's a thumb screw. Fan slides back from the pin. Oh, after you undo the screw completely, it comes out much easier.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And there's your fan,
There's our fan.
thumb screw. Simple and easy to change. But again, the system should be powered down for this. Replacing anything while it's moving is a bad idea.
So the drives are hot swappable, the power supplies are hot swappable, but pretty much everything else, yeah, you're going to be opening up the box. You need to,
But basically, the rule: if you have to take the lid off, you should have the power out.
Yeah.
Always power remove, and not just power down. Pull the power cords out
Right.
because there is a standby voltage on the system. So
but you don't have to take it out of the rack, right?
Nope.
This could be like just pulled out of the rack
sure.
and serviced kind of there in the rails, I guess, right?
Yep. So our slide rails are a toolless install. They go into the rack. We provide screws for Zone 4 earthquake proof of the rails. This would just slide out.
Yep.
And it becomes its own bench. You can do all your work on this with it hanging out of the rack.
Cool. So is that where these are the things that the rails clip onto, these little
Yes.
nubs here?
Those little pins on the side.
So these little pins hold up. How much does this thing weigh, by the way?
This says 57 pounds.
Wow.
So you have the weight dispersed through the 4 pins on either
Either
side, and the actual weight is about 300 pounds that it can support. So we have.
Oh, wow. Seriously?
Seriously, yeah.
So I could sit on this.
You could, yeah. Keep in mind the 57 pounds plus whatever you weigh.
Yeah. Well,
but, you're still good.
I'm less than 243 or whatever the math is there.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So that's our box. Yes.
Okay. So that's all right. So so besides the fans, all this stuff up at the front, what do we got up here? So
Intel motherboard, Intel processors, Intel approved RAM. We have. As I mentioned before, 2 8-core processors, 64 gig of RAM. This is all server grade. None of this, you most likely will not find anything like this in your desktop or anything at your work. Powerhouse, all powered by our
power supplies.
Our power supplies over here. And this is kind of the end of the commercial off-the-shelf parts.
Right.
Back here is our Solace magic. So this is what makes this a messaging appliance. Without this, it'd be a server.
So this is the data part, the messaging part, and this is the management part, the control plane. Well, we refer to the control plane, right?
Exactly.
So this is where we would store our Solace operating system, our logging, our diagnostics, all the kind of stuff that makes sure that the box stays up and alive and healthy.
Exactly.
And easy to manage and whatever.
Yes.
And then back here is where, the magic, which we're going to be, I guess, taking a look at in just a second, right? So
absolutely.
Right.
I did want to mention one thing. We always include SFPs with all our systems. Sometimes folks look at the back of the appliance and they see the dust plugs and they assume that's an empty hole. It's not. So you can see if you look straight on the back, you have that darkness there. The SFPs are there. We just have a dust plug to keep any dirt or contamination from getting in the ports during shipping.
Right.
So
this is where your fiber is going to plug into here, right?
That's exactly
so once you get to
correct.
the data center, okay.
Yep. So I'm going to remove those. Before you take out the blades, the first step is to remove the dust plugs.
It's very nice of you to provide dust plugs for all the ports.
Well, it keeps them clean and prevents our customers from saying, hey, I got a bad port.
Yep.
Well,
fair enough. Bit of dust in there. Who knows?
Yes, dust is not our friend. So not with fiber.
Tamimi, I'm going to just reposition the second camera here. So just give me a second. Yeah. Let's see if I can get a little bit more of a top-down view here. Sorry, Blair, we're going to cut you off.
That's fine, buddy.
There we go. How about that view? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Hopefully that's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So everyone's here to see this, not me. So I'm okay with that. So we'll start with the network acceleration blade. The cartridge in the middle of the chassis. There's 2 securing screws. You'll see lots of visibility here. 2 green arrows. Your notes are right here. If you haven't watched haven't read through our user guide. So unscrew the 2 locking screws.
Yep.
Push the 2 extractor levers towards each other. Again, follow the green arrows. Lift the blade carrier out. Out it comes. And the chassis can be used as its own cable to work on.
Right.
So if...
now, I do want to say that, we are in an anti-static room, right? Like we are, Blair is wearing like grounded shoes and the floor has, was it carbon inside it or something?
Carbon in the tiles, which goes off to the building ground. So this is not something you'd see in a typical data center.
Right.
So we have a smock, it's got carbon in it that pulls all the static from us, and we dissipate through a heel strap on our shoes. So,
because I don't have any of that, I should be wearing an anti-static strap if I'm going to be touching this thing,
if
right?
you're going to touch it, that's where this will come in.
Right.
The anti-static, you'd have a strap, and you connect to the chassis at a minimum, if you don't have a building ground, to at least be at the same potential as the chassis.
Right.
So that's where the little alligator clip comes from. You can clip on anywhere.
Clip on anywhere, yep. So, folks that have built their own PC probably know about grounding yourself to prevent any kind of especially in Canadian winters where things get quite dry, you want to not be discharging. All right. So here's cartridge number 1.
Cartridge number 1.
Yeah.
So this is
well, look at all those ports.
Yep. That's our 8x10. Sorry, cartridge number 2. The first cartridge I'm starting.
That's right. Yes. Cartridge. Yeah.
So
we used to call it Fabric 2, I think, in the old 3260 days, right? Like Fabric 1 and Fabric 2.
Fabric 1.
Right.
Yes, for sure. So I'm going to use the blade removal tool that comes with every chassis.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, beautiful.
And that
it's even labeled blade removal tool, so you know what it is.
Well, we try not to hide anything. So this, as I say, the chassis can be used as its own base for blade removal. You'll see there's holes in the back of the cartridge.
Yeah.
They go right on. You line up the blade removal tool. It comes right up against the PCB of the network acceleration blade.
Yeah.
While it's resting there, remove the last securing screw.
This is for the lid of the thing, or?
This is for the blade. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The lid here opens up.
Okay.
And there's our network acceleration blade. Apply a bit of pressure down, and you'll see the gold fingers exposed from the network acceleration blade.
So those pins line up with the PCB to just push it out.
Yes.
You don't have to yank on it yourself, right?
Yes. So, and I'll get to that in just 2 minutes here. So with the blade loosened, we grasp firmly the PCB, not the DIMS. And this is where grasp firmly and back it up gently.
That's a big
and
card.
Straight out. It's a big card. It's got a big heavy heat sink on it. I'm going to lay this down so it doesn't rock. This is our network acceleration blade.
Wow.
So,
and this is our biggest nab, right? This is
this is our 8x10
8x10
network processor supporting RAM. You will notice on the side of our DIMMs, we have a warning to please do not pick up this card by the DIMMs.
You got that out there? If you're handling a nab, do not grab the RAM, people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please don't. We have a giant heat sink.
Yeah.
You can firmly grasp it, nice and solid. Nothing happens to the card. We'll remove the blade removal tool, set it aside. To reinstall, firmly grasp the PCB, turn the cartridge back up. Again, heatsink, not DIMMs.
Nice, good grip. Yep.
Line up your SFPs through the front, careful on the back. Set it into both connectors, and you'll see the gold fingers here and here. When you push down,
beauty.
Gold fingers disappear. Gold fingers are gone, you have a good connectivity.
Gone gold fingers. All right. Yep.
No gold is good.
Don't angle it in as well. That's probably a big no-no, right?
Yeah, just straight down. Then we'll return the blanking plate for airflow control. And then when we close the lid, we're going to pay special attention to the anti-droop clips to make sure they grasp the edge of the printed circuit board. So when this is down, you should be able to push on the heatsink and the back of the board, and it shouldn't move. It should be secured. That keeps the nab from drooping.
So tilting over to the side, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Tighten the screw.
Awesome.
Another quick check. And reverse our steps from before.
Are we offering a certification for people that watch this office hours? They can now service Solace appliances.
Yeah, they just have to come here and do this in front of me. I'll be happy to provide the certificate. And then
so yeah, we can't do it virtually, ladies and gentlemen, but if you come to the Solace office, and Blair will give you a certificate here.
Yeah, Monday to Friday.
8x10. I just want to say one thing about this nab. So we have a number of different network acceleration blades available for our various Solace appliances, ranging from 1 gig cards to this is our monster. This is 8 ports, 10 gigs, and the card can do a full 80 gigabit in and out at the same time, right? So like that is a lot of throughput. 80 gigabits of messaging traffic through one box. So just the density, I guess, well, I mean, in 2 U's, I can do 80 gigabits, which is a lot.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive.
Yeah.
We also offer this card as a 4x10.
4x10?
The top is a daughter card, a mezzanine card, if you wish, that is removed, providing a 4x10.
Right.
So we offer 2 different flavors of this network acceleration blade.
And do we do the 8x1 gig anymore? Or
Nope.
there's no more 1 gigs anymore? Okay. Sorry, everybody. I'm out of date.
That's okay.
We used to have a 4x1 and a 8x1, but
and a 2x10 and a 6x10.
And a 2x10,
which we all support in the field.
That's right.
So we have customers that are lots of customers out there with those blades. We have lots of inventory here to support them,
Right.
to make sure they're covered.
But not shipping today. Not
Not
being
shipping
sold
as
today.
sales.
Yeah,
Not
right.
not sellable, not purchasable.
That's
for
right.
sure.
Okay, so that
So-
was the NAB in this box.
Yep.
What do we got over here?
So in here we have our assured delivery blade. This is what provides our guaranteed messaging.
Now, I have to say, this is one of the cooler pieces of the Solace tech. Just
It's pretty sweet.
how
yes.
we do persistent messaging in hardware here.
So this, I'll use the
Same. Does it
same
it
blade
fits as
removal
well?
tool.
Okay, yeah.
It goes across all of them. So I'll use the NAB as the NAB cartridge as my table. Line it up with the PCB.
Yep.
Undo the securing screw at the top. Open the lid.
And
Push down.
oh,
Sorry, I just need to secure.
There we go.
Push down.
gold fingers.
Remove the blanking plates. Just get them out of your way right now so they don't fall down in the way, cause any damage. Firmly grasp the PCB and lift up.
Right.
Set this aside over here and show the assured delivery blade.
Woohoo.
This is an ADB4. This is our most powerful guaranteed messaging offering.
Top of the line. This is a top spec box here. We got 8x10 gig NAB, ADB4. This thing is capable of 650,000 messages per second, guaranteed, fully guaranteed.
That is correct.
So you want to give us a walkthrough of what's on this card? Because it's quite impressive,
So
I think.
it is very impressive. We have two 10 gig SFPs on the front here. SFP stands for small form factor pluggable, easily removable. We have them labeled so you know that they're ours. Very, like I say, easy to remove,
Yep.
easy to install.
So stick your fibers into there,
Just
right?
Right, the fiber goes into here,
Yep.
and this is looped back to the other ADB, or this is connected directly to the loop to the ADB in the other high availability pair.
That's right.
So they communicate to each other.
Directly, yeah. So you cable these two appliances, the two HAs, directly to each other via these guys. That's how they
That's correct.
exchange their guaranteed messaging information at high speed. Yeah.
Yes. So the messages come in here.
Yep.
They're stored in RAM.
Yep.
Should there be a power outage, we have a supercapacitor,
Yes.
which is a design feat in itself. This is provides a battery backup for this card. Should there be a loss of power, the messages from RAM will be this will hold the card up long enough for the messages in RAM to be written to the compact flash.
Yep.
So then when power is restored, the return path, messages back in RAM, and delivery is attempted.
So this is how Solace manages such high performance guaranteed messaging with non-volatile storage. Is that we use RAM on the ADB, but if there's a power outage, there's enough juice in these capacitors to like flush it all to disk. And I have to say that during a proof of concept, a POC at a customer's, this is one of the favorite tests that I like to do. Is just in the middle of a bunch of high speed, high performance messaging tests to just like yank out the power cables from here and like just crash the box. And obviously you'll get an HA failover to the other side, or you crash that box as well, plug it all back in. Once they boot up, everything kind of gets read back into memory there and carries on. And it's all there. You don't lose any data.
That's not by accident.
Yeah.
Design intent. Yeah. So, for sure. So I'm going to set this down. I'm going to take my blade removal tool and put it back. We don't need that for the installation.
All right.
Put the ADB back here, nice and solid.
So it's okay, kind of like the lid just resting there
It's
on those
resting
cables,
on
or
the
just
metal cable
Yeah,
on the
on
side here. So if you can do
don't
this,
scrape up the.
just like all things, treat it with the respect it deserves.
Right.
Be nice, be kind, and this is not something you want to rush doing. You take your time and do it right. So gold fingers in both connectors. You can see them sitting there.
Yep.
ADB is vertical.
Yep.
And I'm just going to push down. Whoops. My thumb went to sleep on me.
Oh.
There we go.
All right. Nicely seated. Yep.
Okay. So nice and tight. Gold fingers are gone. Put in the blanking plates. Close the lid. Again, anti-droop clips.
Yeah, make sure you're lined up there.
Place. We go. Check. These are nice and tight. They're not going to fall out. If they are, just reposition them.
So these we could add possibly some other cards here in the future if Solace ever decides to invent another card or something to go in here, right?
We have 2 empty slots.
That's right.
Something I never mentioned in the other one is we now have an empty slot here.
All right. So for those old schoolers among us, what card is missing from our hardware appliance here that you didn't notice? I guess, yeah, put it in the chat if you know. Tamimi, flash it up there. But, we'll give you the answer. We used to have a third blade. It's not there anymore.
No, we had a topic routing blade in there.
That's right.
And the network acceleration blade is so powerful, the TRB was incorporated into the NAB. We refer to it as the eTRB.
eTRB.
So we no longer require another blade. The system has 3 blades.
So in our older training, I guess you'd say, yeah. So the NAB is your network interface, your I/O, your TCP connections are all coming in here. The ADB is your guaranteed messaging card that's in charge of all the persistent storage and everything. And then the TRB was your matching engine, essentially. So every message that would come in, it looks at that topic, it sends it off to the TRB where we do our subscription, multi-level wildcard topic matching. And that is where, the appliance decides which subscribers, which eligible destinations are eligible for this particular message. So that's now being done on the NAB. Because the technology has improved, the NAB is so powerful, it has spare horsepower. It's now the TRB as well. So yeah, which I guess is simpler for us. One less thing to worry about.
Well, it's something else we don't need to install in there, and it actually increases the capacity. The TRB, we are limited at something like 25 million topic routes. We're now 28 million or something.
28 million. Okay, yeah.
So
it's a big number.
Big numbers. Huge numbers. Yep. Right? Huge numbers. So, yeah.
So there we go. So those are the two most important parts of this entire box, right? So the messaging part and all the rest of the things to support the function of this appliance. So
sure. And an honorable mention to our host bus adapter. This provides access to our storage. So if you've got a SAN, your SAN would cable in here, and then you'd set your storage up for extra messaging and so on would be written out.
The ADB is essentially kind of a cache in front of your SAN, right? So rather than writing each individual message out kind of one by one to a SAN, which is not really what it's designed for, kind of like the ADB manages that high velocity. And if the subscribers are online right away, it doesn't even need to go to the SAN. But if the ADB starts to fill up, the SAN or the HBA will batch those messages off to the SAN. So we haven't talked about performance or anything really. Well, we've talked a little bit about performance, but the 8x10 gig, it can do up to 28 million messages per second. Now, these are direct, non-persistent messages, and that's in a fan-out situation, or I think it's about 8 million one-on-one, like one in, one out messages per second. 8 million, so massive capacity, massive burst handling capabilities. And I think, we mentioned that the ADB can do 650,000 if it's fully unlocked with a key messages per second as well. So, I'm surprised Tamimi, if you're out there, do you want to come off mute for a second and just, are there any questions from the field here on our beautiful hardware appliance?
This is great. So far, I've been watching the demo. We do have one question that came through. It's with regards to appliances being used for the SAP Advanced Mesh and the Event Mesh. I know the answer, but if you want to chime in, Aaron, to say something about appliances and the SAP Advanced Event Mesh.
I don't know 100%, so I don't want to kind of say anything on the record, but I
Yeah.
I think that SAP use Solace appliances in their SAP data centers to implement the Solace event mesh. But I believe also you can purchase Solace software capabilities through the SAP kind of store. But I'm not an SAP person, so my nomenclature might be off, and I would suggest whoever is asking that, the Solace community is a place to ask questions for these types of things, right? So you could head over there and ask that. So I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
Blair, do you know? I mean,
no,
audience as well, that the Solace, as you mentioned at the beginning, Aaron, this our broker comes in three different form factors. There's the hardware, cloud, and software, and the SAP Advanced Event Mesh definitely does leverage a lot from our cloud offering. So the Solace Cloud definitely does this. So this is kind of one of the questions that came through right now through LinkedIn from Linton.
I know that SAP definitely have us deployed in their data centers globally because I've seen some of them. I've done training with SAP folks, but yeah, in terms of what is actually used as part of the SAP Advanced Event Mesh, I'm not sure. I don't know if they use our Solace appliances for internal SAP stuff, and then customers that purchase the SAP Advanced Event Mesh, if they're software brokers or maybe a message VPN within one of our hardware brokers. I don't actually know. So,
but it is a great question for our SAP team.
That's right.
They're the folks we should be speaking.
We have a dedicated team of SAP folks, some pretty smart engineers, and they could answer that question there. So, yeah.
Yeah, so the advanced event mesh is 100% cloud SaaS. So it uses the Solace Cloud offering for the advanced event mesh, which we call it the AEM. The advanced event mesh is 100% SaaS offering.
Okay.
So for that particular, the SAP Advanced Event Mesh, there's no hardware appliances, but that's kind of the to answer the question.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so just to make, I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I mean, all of our various offerings in terms of, software, Solace Cloud as a service, the hardware appliance, these are all fully compatible, right? The Solace messaging system is the operating system is the exact same across all of these different brokers. So no matter whether you're running a Solace appliance on-prem, this is an Equinix piped into an AWS data center, whether you're running Kubernetes and GCP or, Huawei Cloud. I mean, all of the Solace, it's, your application uses the same APIs to connect. The management API is the exact same, so you can monitor it in the same way. Even now with our Terraform provider, our declarative SEMP, that can be used to configure both the hardware and the software brokers as well in a declarative way. So all fully compatible, mix and match. Use a hardware in production and software in the cloud and for dev. That's a common pattern. But if you start off with Solace software brokers, the free ones, and eventually upgrade to enterprise, and you want to go even higher performance, here is the pinnacle right here. So it's a little bit pricier than a free software broker, but well worth it, I think. So
if you want the performance, this is where you need to go.
That's right. Yeah. This awesome hardware. So
yeah, it is.
All right, back to you, Aaron.
Cool product.
Okay, well, I mean, so Blair, actually, before we start to wrap up here, I do want to show. I made a little video when I was in Singapore before I came home for Christmas. Tamimi, can you roll that? Actually, I want to show it here. It's only about a minute long, I think.
Hey there, Aaron here, still in the Singapore office. I just want to show you something. I got an old 3560 here. I have an even older 3260. For you, to you. But is this Solace's smallest form factor? Haha, nope. Check this out. This I call the 3501 micro appliance. Obviously not a real appliance. It's just a little x86 computer. I got Docker on there. I run my little standalone broker. It's got monitoring built in. I have a syslog server. I have InfluxDB and some SEMP querying. But yeah, a little standalone broker. I use it here in the lab for testing. Phil bought this, actually. Thanks, Phil. And if I had a few more of these, I could make a little HA triple setup. Anyway, now that Solace actually has an ARM version of the broker, you could probably put this on something even smaller. I don't know. Does it fit on a Pi yet? Maybe. Anyway, check it out. So yeah, if you don't have room in your data center for one of our appliances, maybe you might consider buying one of these. Anyway, back to the live stream.
So yeah, obviously not an official product there, as you can tell by my stickers and stuff. But yeah, that was a little gigabyte kind of little micro, I don't know, laptop guts, but a little kind of small form factor. I think there's a name for those types of computers. But yeah, I have Docker on there. It runs a broker, and I think it's great. I can take it around with me. Certainly a lot smaller than one of these bad boys, but.
How's your performance?
The performance is not as good, Blair. Yeah. Well, with the it's a 1 gig NIC. Direct messaging is pretty quick, actually. Obviously, is because that's just all in RAM. It's all kind of just straight through. The solid state disk on there, I think I can do about 1,000 messages per second, guaranteed.
Okay.
Yeah, which is not bad. I don't know if I could sustain that for very long. And obviously, it's not server grade components. The SSD might melt down after 6 months of intense use. I use it for kind of lightweight testing. But anyway, that is my little software hardware broker. So I've seen, I don't know, some customers are like, well, we don't have enough room in our store to install a whole hardware appliance. I'm like, well, do you have room for this little guy? So yeah, that's my 3501. Anyway, build it yourself, folks. It's all off the shelf components. So
excellent.
Anyway, well, Blair, thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time. I know things are busy right now. Christmas is next week, and you're trying to get things wrapped up before end of year. But thank you for taking the time to show us the hardware appliance. I hope you folks out there really enjoyed that. We'll be back next month. I don't know exactly what my topic's going to be next month, but it will not be something as tangible and physically cool as this. So, yeah. Any last words before we head out?
Nope. Merry Christmas, folks. Happy New Year.
All right. Thanks very much. Have a happy holidays. See you in the new year. And to Mimi, roll the outro.